It's amazing how many sleepless nights it takes to become an overnight success. Kazakhstan has very rightly so had very active reforms in the last couple of years. We're all very happy with the reforms. Kazakhstan, for example, was behind for a while, and then boom, they made a leap forward, and then suddenly they bypassed us. So this happened exactly with e-government, which is working very well. So logistics is of priority importance for Kazakhstan.
Investments is a very big topic at the moment in Kazakhstan, and to explore this topic, I invited a guest here today, President of the Benelux Chamber of Commerce, Denis van den Weghe. Thank you very much for coming to talk to us. My first question would be, can you tell us what are the priority areas for Benelux companies in Kazakhstan at the moment?
Well, first of all, agriculture, definitely. Because in Belgium and in the Netherlands we have very big companies in this sphere with very high technology solutions. Also into water infrastructure. We are eagerly looking at the strategy of the government that is into saving water in Kazakhstan. We have very good solutions, especially from the Netherlands and Belgium as well. In this sphere, so water infrastructure projects, even talking about the desalination of water for the regions around the Caspian area. Besides that, in the metal industry, so thinking about the metals that are in batteries that are making the electric transition possible in Europe. There's a huge demand for these metals. Besides that, renewable energy. Many other spheres, also pharmaceuticals, medical equipment, where we are very good in. Yeah.
Can you tell us, does the Chamber organize some events or programs to facilitate connection between Benelux investors with their potential partners here in Kazakhstan?
Mm-hmm. So, a Chamber of Commerce, it's a known concept around the world. Okay, we have not invented it, we have just used the model and started this in 2021 in April, and since then have been able to successfully create a sort of platform where first and foremost the companies from our region, Benelux, that are already present in Kazakhstan with investments, with trade, etc., but also those willing to come here, invest and or trade with Kazakhstan, and vice versa, the Kazakh companies that are trying to export towards the Benelux region, because the Benelux region is the heart, it's the beating heart of Europe. It's the founding part of the European Union, actually. So we are a platform where we exchange information among these companies into best practices, how they've dealt with some issues, and how to overcome problems. And on the basis of our platform, companies can find their future distributors, their future partners. They can talk about technology exchange, etc. So we organize very regularly seminars, forums, conferences. Most of them, they're in hybrid format because since COVID, the online part of the business has gained importance. And it allows our member companies from the Benelux region who do not have any representative office yet in Kazakhstan to participate and to use the chamber as a window towards the business opportunities in Kazakhstan. So they are very far away geographically, but actually they are very nearby. That's why we always do our events in the afternoon. To take into account the time difference, which now will be a little bit less from 1st of March. But before that, winter time, 5 hours, it's significant. So we don't do any events before 15 o'clock Kazakh time.
Mm-hmm. In the last few years, Kazakhstan has been on the path of reforms, and of course it encompassing investment climate and doing business. for foreign investors in Kazakhstan. How would you assess the current investment opportunities in Kazakhstan for Benelux companies? Did it improve? Maybe some areas were opened up due to these reforms?
I would say that, I've been here myself since 2009. Yes, so it's a Jubilee year this year, it's 15 years. I would say that in general, the conditions were always good, okay, in general. Especially if we look at the wider region, Central Asian region, CIS. Kazakhstan is the most stable country, politically, but also economically prosperous country in the region. So it's always been good. But a country is like a business, everything is evolving. It's like a living organism. You improve continuously. The moment you stop improving, you are going behind because other countries in the world are improving. And the world is our backyard. The world has become so small. So companies have opportunity to invest anywhere. They can go to Vietnam, they can go to South Africa, they can go to Kazakhstan. So they compare all the countries towards each other. So if a country stops reforming and stops increasing or improving the business climate, then actually you're going behind versus the other countries. So Kazakhstan has very rightly so had very active reforms in the last couple of years. We're all very happy with the reforms. So the business climate is even getting better than it already was. There's no such thing as an ideal business climate. Yes? So we're not there yet. It's work in process. But the government is listening to the business community, listening to the foreign investors very carefully and implementing these ideas and propositions into future laws and regulations. Mm-hmm.
Can you provide us with an example where, for example, the reforms improved the way foreign investors can do business in Kazakhstan, if you have any in mind at the moment?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be able to give you just an example top of my mind. It's not that, this reform has happened, boom, now the door will be being banged by investors. Now we want to come, No, it's just these little things. They make it nicer to do business, okay? So whereas you have always a risk when you invest in any country in the world, because it's business. If it would be guaranteed business, then it wouldn't be business. So business has always some risks, but these risks get lower when some reforms happen. So instead of having a risk, let's say level of 70, the risk level will be 60, but the returns will be still the same. So there is an increased incentive to come and invest. So I wouldn't say that, this little reform has just changed the ball game completely, no. Because their investment climate was already good, they're just making some fine tunings into making it even better.
I think my question was more about, for example, if companies that you work with, you facilitate doing business in the region, for example, came up with an obstacle and Chamber was able to mitigate that risk or or facilitated some, some work for them.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is a daily work. Okay, we have a team busy providing services to our member companies, and this is happening on a daily basis. Customs issues, tax issues, some legal constraints, etc. So all of these requests are always taken from the business side. We look at the other companies in the chamber who have similar obstacles, requests, and then we address them to the necessary ministries for them to take actions. So definitely this is something we do on a continuous basis. It's the main purpose, one of the main purposes of the existence of the chamber.
At the beginning of our conversation, you mentioned that the variety of areas and industries where Benelux countries and investors are interested in working in Kazakhstan. I'm particularly interested in water management because it's a very very important, urgent topic in Kazakhstan and in the region in general. Can you provide us, maybe there is an example where there's a project, a concrete project in process of being implemented?
Okay, we have a couple of water management companies who are members of our chamber. One of them is from the Netherlands and has a fund in Luxembourg where they have already accumulated significant amounts of money which they are ready to invest in Kazakhstan. So they are looking at 5 countries, I think. Kazakhstan is one of them. And there's maybe a little less than 1 billion euro in it, and this should be spent in the next 5 years. So we are looking with them into infrastructure works related to water management, mostly for the government. So the difficulty here is the PPP, so the public-private partnership agreements. The President Tokayev himself, he mentioned it in one of his recent speeches, where he said that the potential of PPP agreements has not been used fully yet. So the legal framework, it's not black-white, it's a little bit gray. There's still some adjustments to be made to make it really perfectly workable. So this is one issue which is on the table now, being discussed. And then the tariffs, unfortunately, in Kazakhstan, they're artificially low. Okay, well, it's we all know why. I mean, because the dispensable income of the population is not high enough to have the same rates as in Europe. It's normal to increase these tariffs gradually. Okay, and there should never be any abrupt changes. However, an investor investing in euro, bringing its experience and technology, is not into charity. Okay, an investor can invest again in any country in the world. So why would they invest in Kazakhstan? They at least need to get return on investment, which is within the market rates worldwide. So the tariffs currently, they do not cover enough to get a good return on investment, meaning that some of it needs to be subsidized from the government additionally, besides the tariff being paid by the population. Okay, so this is also being discussed now. And then if all these things will be in place and both sides are happy, the government side is happy with the deal on the table, then the investors are happy with the deal on the table, then some of the very acute infrastructure problems in water can be tackled.
Mm-hmm. What about renewables? You also mentioned them.
Yes, renewables. So everybody knows there's wind energy, solar energy, hydro energy, biogas. I would also mention the waste-to-energy projects. So it's the burning of waste, household waste, where this energy gets generated in an ecological way. So everybody thinks, oh, burning of waste, it means dark smoke above our head, we're going to pollute our cities, etc. No, no such thing. There is waste-to-energy plants in the city centers of the nicest cities in the world, in Tokyo, in Singapore, in Copenhagen, etc. These plants are inside the city center, where people just live just next door. So there is no such thing as it creating an ecological problem. No, it's taking away the ecological problem we have here, whereas household waste is being sent to landfills. Landfills which are not always completely constructed, whereas there should be like an umbrella beneath which takes all the leakage fluids, preventing them to go into the groundwater. Because the groundwater later on gets pumped up, and then it's used to irrigate land and grow crops, vegetables, etc. So, and then we eat this. So this is really bad. and then these landfills they can gain fire and then create again these black clouds of smoke. So this is really bad. So to step away from this, burning of waste is a really good solution. And there was a law which was passed in Kazakhstan 2 years ago, which allows investors to come into this sphere. However, there was one point which was unfortunately not done right. They gave exploitation periods of 15 years, whereas now the other renewable energy sectors, as I said, wind, solar, etc., they're at 20 years. So for any investor to come in the waste-to-energy sector, where on the one hand they deal with the ecological problem of household waste being sent on landfills, on the other hand they create energy, and we're in an energy deficit situation. There is not enough energy. So it's a two-in-one solution. But they only give an exploitation period of 15 years. In 15 years, if the investor wants to get back his investments, then the tariff would be astronomically high. So it would need to be extended to 20 years. And,
at least.
Yes, at least, maybe 25, analogically to renewable energies. So these little things, you see, there's a law in place, but there's some minor things which do not give enough of an incentive to the investors to come in. But this can be adapted. So the most important thing is that the government is always willing to talk. They're always willing to talk to investors. Also in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, you have the investment committee. Investment committee looks at investors, potential investors, in several scale levels, let's say less than 10 million, 10 to 50 million and above. And then they can give a customized approach towards your investment and maybe make sure you don't get taxes for profit taxes for 5 years, for example. They can allocate some land plots, etc. So government more or less is a reliable partner you can go into discussions with. So this I like here very much.
Mm-hmm. That's why I wanted to ask you also about how would you assess the level of openness and transparency of the Kazakh government's policies, particularly, and regulations that affect foreign investors. So how do they react when you, for example, share this kind of, small issues, I would say, when you talk to them?
In general, the government is very transparent here. Most of the meetings are always online. You can always log into as any member of the population. You can just log in and check what they're saying. All laws are publicized. Whenever there is a change in any law text, we as chambers get the proposed changes. We can then talk internally with our members, talk to the companies these law changes will affect, and then they will say, this is good, this is a bit, creating problems, we would suggest like this. So we give the government back our answer from our pool of member companies, which we represent from our region. So in this way, they're very open. The fact that the e-government platform of Kazakhstan is very well developed is also very helpful. It makes processes very transparent, very quick, much more quick than in most of the European countries, to be honest. Normally, a country which is a developing country, not a developed country. Most European countries are developed countries. Mm-hmm. Kazakhstan is developing countries. So most of the developing countries, they make a leap forward. They go from 1 to 4, while we in Europe go to 1, 2, 3. So we make all these little steps, little by little. So Kazakhstan, for example, was behind for a while, and then boom, they made a leap forward, and then suddenly they bypassed us by a lot. So this happened exactly with e-government, which is working very well. Any person working in any national company, in ministry, department, etc., they're always listening very carefully. Like they say, it's a listening government now in Kazakhstan. So the government employees, they know this, and they also try to listen and to take your comments into their work. And then the population is very vocal here. I would say also much more vocal than in Europe, at least the Benelux region. Whereas anything the population wants to say immediately gets up to the top. Yeah, it goes. Today they say something. Next day already the ministries are saying, we address this problem this way or this way. The presidential administration is like super quick, super open.
Can you, it's just like, it's a very, I guess, personal off the top question. What makes us different? The population in Benelux countries and here in Kazakhstan, why people in Kazakhstan are so vocal? Sometimes I think it's because we're very impatient in general, people in Kazakhstan. I don't know, your view, since you're a foreigner and also been here for over 10 years.
Yeah, so we're all human, but we're a little bit different character-wise. I think in the Benelux region, we're used to cope with a lot of issues and let them drag on for years, to be honest. There's only been a couple of times in Belgium when the people has really been very vocal. This one when we had the huge scandal with pedophiles, and then all the parents came on the street and they said, okay, now we need to make a law that this and this and that. So it took a long time. In Kazakhstan, it goes very quick.
It was very quick.
Everything is very quick here. So probably it's in the DNA of the Kazakhs. For us, time goes very slow, I guess. We are always thinking in generations, in centuries, a bit like the Chinese. Because our countries, they've been there much longer than Kazakhstan has. Kazakhstan is still a young country, of course, with a very rich history. I have some friends, they're Belgian archaeologists. They've been here also maybe 15, 20 years. And they've found very many remnants of cities, etc. in Kazakhstan. So there's been ancient civilizations here. But in general, the people, they are more like boom, boom, like hands-on. There's an assignment, we need to do it. That's how it goes in the government. It goes very quick. Assignment goes up, immediately goes to the bottom, and then they start working. Same with the population. They have something they're not happy with. They start thinking, they talk among each other, and no, we need to
propose something.
Yes, impose something. Mm-hmm. So thereby, the listening government of Kazakhstan is, in a way, the answer to the needs of the population, which reacts in such a way.
In your opinion, when you see governments like this, listening governments, when people are able to express, like population of that country, of that particular country, can express its opinion about certain things that affect them, their daily life, their children, whatever. How do foreign investors look at that? Do they take it as a positive thing?
Of course, it's very positive, very positive. When I said that we react very slowly in our countries, it doesn't mean that we cannot be vocal.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying how foreign investors...
adding this to my previous words, right? So I'm just saying that we can say anything we want in the Benelux region, and people are vocal, but the level of the boiling point is much higher. So it takes a lot for us to be on the boiling point. Here, people also can say whatever they want, yes? If you look on the social media, in the news, etc., whatever people are saying, we are far from any situations, let's say, like North Korea, where people are afraid to say their opinions. And for any investor, that's very, very important. Why? Because when you invest in a country, your money is locked up there. And who will be responsible for that money? Yeah, maybe you will send 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 expats, depending on the size of your business. If it's a 1,000 people company, maybe you'll have 15 expats. If it's a 100 person company, maybe you'll have 2 expats. So mainly you're employing the local population. If you're employing the local population, there are your assets also. You need to train them. Maybe you send them back to our region where you train them to all the best practices. You bring people from there here. So all of this is investment into your people assets. And then you want these people to think critically. If they are always, let's say, brainwashed from their government from morning till evening and they don't have an own opinion, it's very difficult to make them into good employees. Very difficult, because they have no critical thinking, they have no out-of-the-box thinking, etc. So because here people can say whatever they want, they live freely and they develop themselves in certain areas, they read whatever they want, they look on the television, online, etc. These people can be turned into really good employees.
So we can say that Kazakhstan has also not only mineral resources, but also human capital they can invest in.
Well, definitely Kazakhstan has human capital. And when I arrived in 2009, there were 16 million inhabitants. Now there's over 20 million. So it's an increase of 25%, which is very significant. And as you know, this normally goes in exponential curves. They don't go linear. So the expectation is that it would be, let's say, 30 in much less years. So we could eventually here have a very big population, similar to the one in Uzbekistan. And then for any investor who is looking into consumer goods, anything which is consumed on a daily basis, like food. I mean, I mentioned that agriculture is a very big potential for investments in Kazakhstan. But when you take the agricultural goods, then you can develop them into more high value-added products. Yeah, you can make canned products out of it. You can make dairy products. You can make things like sneakers, etc., etc. So all of this can be made locally. So this is diversification of the economy, where you have more vertical integration of the whole chain inside the country, creating jobs, creating more taxes for the government to have budget to then spend on schools and education, etc.
And I will have 2 last questions about the middle corridor. If Benelux companies are investing into this big project, I think it's like one of the major projects for the next 5 years for Kazakhstan and for the region, and for the Europe, I guess.
So beginning of February, there was a big conference in Brussels. Brussels is the capital of Belgium, the heart of Europe. The Minister Karabayev was there with many Kazakh delegates. We had a significant number of companies there, among them Belgian company Ahlers, who is in logistics. In general, yes, we have a big interest in the middle corridor because any successful business needs to have access to market and access to goods. So supply chain is always essential. If you look at Kazakhstan, there is no access to the sea. You know, Caspian Sea, sea is only in the name. It's a big lake. So having no access to the sea, you need to have good logistic transportation roads. Middle corridor is an addition to the existing routes. It's not the solution for everything. It's an addition, but as in anything in business, you put your eggs in different baskets. So it's very needed for Kazakhstan to develop this middle corridor further. So all our companies support this very much. And yes, there's active work being done. There's also some cooperation agreements between the ports of the Caspian Sea and the ports in Belgium and in the Netherlands of how to make full usage of this middle corridor and bring goods from A to Z. It will be a big effort, something which cannot be done overnight. Nothing big can be done overnight.
It takes time.
Yeah, it takes time. You know, in business they say it's amazing how many sleepless nights it takes to become an overnight success. So people always see the end result. Oh, wow, success. And he did it. Wow, he was so lucky. No, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of blood, tears, and nerves. Same with this middle corridor. It will not be done very quick. It will take significant efforts from all governments involved, from all the companies involved, from people doing this thing, and huge amounts of money. But once it will be there, it will be there. And it will help Kazakhstan to bring down the logistics cost of goods, because logistics sits in everything we eat and consume, buy on a daily basis. Everywhere sits the cost of logistics. If this cost goes down, it goes down a lot in the end cost, because every cost gets inflated, because they do time so much, they need to have their margin, etc. So logistics is of priority importance for Kazakhstan.
And my last question will be, as a person who's been here for 15 years, if some foreign investor will come to you and ask you, what is Kazakhstan? Why should I go and invest there? What would you say?
Kazakhstan is a huge country geographically, with huge perspectives in many fields. Traditionally in the oil and gas sector, in the metal sector, mining sector. Agriculture is also an area which has not been invested in enough yet. Amazing people who are from so many different ethnicities, with so many different religions, who are very vocal, who can help your business thrive here. Centrally located between China and the EU, with a big neighbor in the north being Russia, one of the other biggest countries in the world, India, Iran very near. So it's surrounded by huge countries with huge populations and therefore huge consumptions. So in this stable environment, which is Kazakhstan, if you set up your factory here, you have an ideal point of growth to export to all of these surrounding countries.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.